Good say, good evening to you, man. I hope that you are doing well. Please greet the listeners at home.
Greet everyone at home and yeah, everyone who's listening to Radio 537. Good interview there, Toban with Inga.
Ne?
Yeah, it was fire.
Kauthi Vandla Vandla kaloku, I know that you have something to say even before we go to the late night thought. Ithini into? Ithini into? What's your
Hey,
one, two?
let me just say
Mm.
I'm glad I was not being I was not the person in his place tonight, and that's very difficult because people have their different opinions, different views,
Uh-huh.
and you could hear ebezingena phaa ukuthi hey azinantanga mfondini. So I'd rather abstain from saying anything, least nami kungene voice note.
Ungene zakho
Yeah.
i-voice note ezikulingeneyo.
Hayi,
Oh well, thank you
hayi,
so much
no.
then. Now today we are here, we are premiering this feature called Late Night Thought, and of course with the man himself, Khanya Nontolwana. What are you bringing us today, Mhlekazi? Usiphathele ntoni namhlanje? Khawutsho.
Namhlanje wethu we premiering this feature and I'm privileged to be here. Today we're talking about something that is rising faster
Uh-huh.
than the coronavirus and Shabiri, and
Mm.
it is called anxiety.
Sure. Mm.
To be more specific, status anxiety.
Hmm. Elaborate.
Andazi noma ukuhlowa ngayo na. Well, first of all, we have to acknowledge that there are two types of anxiety.
Uh-huh.
There's good
Mm.
and bad anxiety, right?
Mm-hmm.
You know, anxiety is an enhancer at
Uh-huh.
times when we are
Mm.
doing things. Take, for instance, when you're writing an exam. You
Uh-huh.
don't say, I'm writing an exam. You say, I'm writing an exam. There's that sense of panic, that,
Yeah.
that
Mm.
that worry. So when you're anxious, you actually responding to the uncertainty that you are going to go through in the
Uh-huh.
near future in many cases. So it's when we react to
Uh-huh.
a reality that is to come, but we don't know how is it going to be. But
Yeah.
that certain worry passes
Uh-huh.
over time, which is good. So in a way, there are times whereby anxiety becomes good for you, but
Uh-huh.
mostly it's bad. So it's when you are in that constant state of worry and it's bad for you. It leads to
Uh-huh.
depression and other mental illnesses. Yeah,
Hmm.
yeah. But today we're talking about the kind of anxiety called a status anxiety. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like to make it clear now, it's like when you are in social events, yeah,
Yeah.
as young people we go through a lot of those, though the number of social events has declined since
Uh-huh.
the coronavirus. And the most common question, Tobani, that people normally ask us is, what do you do or what are you studying? Yes or no?
Uh-huh.
We will always ask you what you do, what you are studying, and based on your answer, on how impressive is your answer, is either
Yeah.
people will be keen to know you or they will leave you. So based
Yo.
on how
Mm.
impressive your answer is.
Mm-hmm.
Né? So that also indicates ukuthi, people né, in those kinds of spheres.
Mm-hmm.
I'm using this term people loosely here, I know, but normally they would care about that one part of your life. Yeah, well, which
Mm-hmm.
means Antoni
What are you
or
doing?
Uyintoni.
Uh-huh. Mm.
Yeah, what are you doing or what are you studying?
Mm.
So they care about that one part of your life, and
Uh-huh.
they use that to come to a central verdict
Mm.
on how they will value you as a human being, right?
Mm-hmm. How much value will they ascribe to you as a person?
Yeah,
Mm.
exactly. So that's where we become worried when we are in in social spheres, in social places, and
Mm.
it takes a toll. Abantu abaninzi, whether you are young or old, so we're worried
Mm.
about judgment and humiliation
Mm.
that might come from giving that
Sure.
answer. Yabo?
Mm. Sure. And
So
I just want to ndingene nje kuloo ndawo because sometimes ezi zinto singazithetha sizibekele phaa. Now what you're talking about, I know it perfectly well because if people who know me, they know what I did like a 2-year course after matriculating, and I did mechanical
yeah,
engineering, and that was basically it. So you get asked by people, "Mfonini, wenzani kaloku ngoku?" And you find that
yeah,
ukuba number one, I'm not driving a car, and andiphathanga zitixo zemoto, and andifundi, andizukwazi ukuthi uba no, I'm currently studying in the University of Ntontoni, and really le nto ithethayo, it's something that is real, and you kind of sense that anxiety, and it takes a toll on people in different ways, and I think you will elaborate on that as well, because sometimes you find yourself, because sometimes you would find yourself. I remember chatting to some of my friends, and then I said to them, yo, yazi ngase ndingadibani nabantu, especially even teachers zam zase high school, because commonly, especially from our high school
yeah,
teachers, that is the first question that they will ask when they see you. Where nza
true.
ntoni?
Yeah, and and as I said, based on your answer,
Mm.
on how impressive it is,
Mm.
people just come to that central vet on how they are going to value you
Mm.
after that, the minute after that that question, and we become anxious and we worry about that judgment and that
Mm.
humiliation should not meet that
The
social
criteria.
status that
Mm.
yeah that they have in their mind, because
Sure.
today nowadays emotional rewards have been pegged with the acquisition of material things. It's a fact. I know
No.
many people would like to dispute that, but today it's things that reward you. I'm talking about emotional, because now I'm
Mm.
talking about the state of mind of a person.
Mm.
So these rewards of like umuntu caring for you, people being happy,
Mm.
born regardless of what you do or what you are not.
Mm.
So these rewards, these emotional rewards have been pegged with the acquisition of material things. So
Sure. You're basically saying what we are turning into a materialistic society. We don't care about you unless there's something material to you that qualifies
yabona
you.
ke yabona ke wevuma indaba,
Mm.
yabona like late night thoughts sibeka injalo. We are not basically saying,
Mm.
I am saying ukuthi we've
Sure.
we've become this
Yeah.
kind of society there, and we see even these things that people go after:
Mm.
money,
Mm.
great jobs, big cars.
Mm.
It's really the things themselves that they really want so much, but
Oh,
it's what's behind,
what's
like the attention,
behind?
the respect, the
Mm.
love given to those that have those things.
Sure.
You know,
Ah, my goodness,
so
man. Sure.
that's why I'm saying that
Mm.
emotional rewards have been pegged with the acquisition of materialistic things.
Things. Yo. Someone once said, I'm sorry, what ndingene as you continue. Someone once said, how do you blame umuntu omnyama ofuna noni azamthenga even at the cost of uba ingcosi angaspendi imali in education, ingcosi angaspendi imali in things that will actually develop himself, instead
Yeah,
athenge into that won't help him establish himself, into only for ukuba uzawukwaziwa kuthiwe hayi ngulowa unento ethile, kuthiwe ngulowa unemoto ethile, lowa udrive into ethile, lowa mhlawumbi unxiba into ethile. Umuntu aqoma, I can disregard everything that I actually want to do because of the status, because of the emotion, the feeling that I will get xa ndifumene laa nto materialistic, xa ndinxibe laa nto ithenteni. So sure,
yeah.
bruh, go on.
Yeah, well, see what you just said. It takes me to my next point.
Uh-huh.
It's like we become anxious,
Mm.
first of all, as you said, but
Mm.
yonke lonto sesiyenzela abantu. You'd
Mm.
rather not invest in education, but you'd rather acquire this thing that is tagged with this emotional reward
Mm.
that is behind having that thing. So, you know, to tell you the truth,
Mm-hmm.
this anxiety is because we are told "Okokuqala le,
Mm.
you can become anything, right?
Mm.
Almost everyone has heard that, but you
Yeah.
can become anything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm.
And it's great because there's such opportunity in this modern world that we're living.
Uh-huh.
But the problem
Mm.
that comes with the anxiety is, what if we fail in this kind of in this kind of world, I should say? Ne?
Mm. Mm-hmm.
What if you don't reach this top
Mm.
that people are talking about, meaning that car, those clothes, that great job?
Uh-huh.
Even though there are so-called many chances to achieve that,
Mm.
it becomes a problem. It
Mm.
becomes a problem, and many people try to do their best to acquire zonke lezi zinto ezi, and some
Oh.
more than others, of course, and
Uh-huh.
it becomes into ebuhlungu because Umtu is constantly living in fear of leaving their house
Mm.
because of how many eyes will be watching and how many
Mm.
mouths will be speaking words about them.
Mm. Whoa.
You see?
Ah, yeah, yeah, yeah. Wow. I see a message ngenayo pha on our WhatsApp line. Let me just see it shortly. Let me see it quickly. Nansia, I think isuka khona nje thanda unibhida pha WhatsApp wethu uthi ethi molweni studio amsivuyile Mpakama from Crossroads. Khanya Bhuti, you've come up with such an interesting topic. Big up. Wow, thank you so much for that message. And really switch namdiavuma. This is really interesting, and I don't even think that we'll be able to do it justice. But this is now our resident feature on Radio 537 and your late night show on the table. Man ngaqhawela mfoko Nontolwana, man, you were still going there, and you and yes.
Yeah, well,
Mm.
thanks to Switch. Thanks
Mm.
to Switch. I know Switch from Crossroads is a good friend of mine. So
Yeah.
they're listening. And um, tell you what I've noticed there
Uh-huh.
also, Otobani.
Mm.
I'm a person who likes reading books. It's not a secret anymore. You know it.
I
Everyone
know.
knows
Mm.
who knows it. As I was passing through this bookshop one day, I've noticed on the self-help section,
Uh-huh. Mm.
self-help books, that there are two kinds of self-help books, man.
Uh-huh.
You get those self-help books that are claiming to quick how to be a millionaire, how to
Yeah.
succeed,
Fast.
and
Mm.
you know those books there.
Yeah, I know them. I know them.
Chances are
Steps.
you've read one of them. Chances are you've read one of them.
Sundikyola.
Take nothing away from them.
Uh-huh.
It's great book. It's great book.
Mm.
But on the other hand, you
Mm.
get the same section, self help. You
Mm.
get books on how to cope with self esteem,
Mm.
and it made me think about the correlation of this thing.
Mm.
Nah. Should you be unable to do what the one side, being a
Mm.
millionaire or whatever,
Mm-hmm.
you can always fall on to this side of coping with this depression of not being able to achieve what is promised on the
Mm-hmm.
other side.
Mm.
So, it brings me to a conclusion, Oguchi. People who write these books also have this consciousness, Uguchi. There's this anxiety to succeed,
Mm.
but some people are become victims of
Yeah.
this
Mm.
social status anxiety, and
Mm.
they need something to fall on, because to speak
Sure.
the truth, not everyone succeeds.
And you know that to just
Yeah,
to validate what you are saying, I don't
yeah,
know. These are not stats from this year. I think they are from 2018, 2019. Saying what 2018 and 2019 self-help books were actually the ones that were they were number one on the list of the categories that were the most selling books at the moment, to such a point that publishers were publishing houses were focusing mainly on self-help books. So just to really validate the fact that really there are so many people who
yeah,
are affected by lento yale social anxiety, and so that is why
yeah,
we see ukuthi there's so much market for self-help books.
yeah, yeah. And you see that makes you think as well, Guti. How are people coping, Gogo, in this um,
Pandemic.
um, pandemic?
Hmm.
Because now the jobs are being lost by Abantu, and there's not much money coming in to many families. Now, how are you going
Yeah.
to maintain when you
Hmm.
are asked that question? What do
Yo.
you do now? What are you going
Yo.
to say?
Yo,
Yeah, well,
I don't do
you
this
know
kind.
what's terrifying,
Hmm.
Baban? Let me scare you even more. Let me scare you out of your seats and your earphones, headphones, and
Uzasuke ubone
everything.
sendingekho ke mna ke kwesi studio. Shike wedwa. Yeah.
It's the late night thought. Has to get you thinking. It has to, even if you're lala after this show, this late
Hmm.
night show, this incredible night show, you have to think.
Have something to
You have to
think.
ask yourself
Hmm.
questions about what you heard here. Now, you know what's more scary, that tops.
Uh-huh.
You know that a modern day society
Hmm.
is deemed to be fair.
Hmm.
Né?
Mm-hmm.
When I say fair, I mean like everyone has an opportunity to be whatever they want to be.
Uh-huh.
Ne?
Hmm.
Dala,
Hmm.
Dala, we knew that it was rigged.
Hmm.
Bebekyano rigged.
Hmm.
Now it was rigged.
Hmm.
You know, it was not entirely your fault if you were a peasant, if you like apartheid. Ne?
Hmm.
It's not entirely your fault that you were not educated at the time. It
Hmm.
was not entirely your fault to be where you are. Hence,
Mm-hmm.
that question of what you are doing was not so important
Mm-hmm.
to the black majority of this
Uh-huh.
country at
Hmm.
that time,
Hmm.
right? So it's not entirely your fault for who you were or where you are. And
Hmm.
even though Abanye, they would receive positions from those who were in charge, they could not take the credit because bebeyazi uba ndibekiwe apha
Uh-huh.
andiyisebenzelanga.
And ndingasuswa
You
nanini.
understand?
Hmm.
You see,
Hmm.
now things are different. Now we are told that today's societies are meritocracies, right?
Hmm.
It means
Mm-hmm.
rewards go to those who merit them, those who are hardworking, those who are clever, those who are educated.
Uh-huh.
And it makes you ask, ne,
Mm-hmm.
if it's really like that,
Hmm.
ne, where on the top, those who are at the top belong there, which
Hmm.
means those who are at the bottom belong there as well.
Yo, thina ngoku. Yo. Hmm.
So those who are at the bottom, do they really deserve to be there? It makes you ask yourself
Sure.
because we are in a fair society. We still have
Hmm.
the poor, we still have the rich. So are you poor because
You chose.
are we let mandibe kanje?
Hmm.
Sinalo ilungelo lokuthi chocho lihlwempu na
Zenzi.
ngoba uthile.
Sure. And yo, pop man ngakuphendula continue. Okay.
No. I once watched a movie, medieval times. I like those movies.
Uh-huh.
Khalil Bandar, is setting his fan now Game of Thrones. This is
Yeah,
like
yeah, I
Dala,
know
but
you and medieval times. I know you and Game of Thrones. That's your stuff. That's your WhatsApp group.
and not leaving that topic,
Uh-huh.
social anxiety. Medieval times.
Mm.
People. I think it was an English movie. Yeah, in England,
Mm-hmm.
people who were poor
Mm.
were called the unfortunates.
Mm.
Whereas not, they were not called poor, but they were
The
saying
unfortunate.
unfortunate because people believed that the goddess
Uh-huh.
fortune was not with them,
Upon them.
right?
Mm,
Hence,
mm-hmm.
they were the unfortunate because
Mm,
they were poor.
mm.
And nowadays, people are not called unfortunate, but they're called losers.
Yeah.
Now, you ask yourself another question: who wants to be called a loser? No
Mm,
one.
mm.
So when this question comes, what do? You don't want to be seen as a loser.
Ah, my goodness. So now we find that's why then we find ourselves Glenda Yokoba Sinale social anxiety because I don't want to be seen as a loser. Indona zami
Yeah,
ndandiye as a high school, they are seemingly doing well. I don't want to be the one who
yeah,
seems not to be doing well and be labeled as a loser.
exactly, exactly, exactly.
Oh.
Now, man, they're in that constant state of wanting to prove not to themselves but to others that
Mm.
they are not losers. You know, professional position
Mm.
has become the central verdict
Mm-hmm.
of who you are nowadays.
Mm.
And see that no wonder
Mm.
why young people commit suicide as much as they are doing nowadays
Mm.
is because of the academical verdict or position has become this central verdict of
Mm.
who they are, then translating to how they're going to be treated by society.
Huh. Yeah. Bro, before we wrap up our conversation and in the attempt man, I was on Kumbela Clan City. Let's take it up until past and continue with this beautiful conversation. This topic that you brought on the late night thought. This is really late night thought. Well, there's a message there at Molweni. This topic is taking me back on a picture I saw this week on Facebook. Yaba mama bahleli phansi emcimbini, they would call you bakubuze ongumntana kabani, wenza ntoni kulo nyaka, utshata nini, so
Hey,
nayo imoto and so okanye kuthiwe
oh, yeah.
ingqondo ufuze uyisemkhulu. The sad part, the individual ekuthethwa ngayo kuye lento uzofuna uhamba ezihlangweni zika yesu emkhulu andiva kahle ke phaa mhlawumbi nawandibhida sisixhosa. Most of these kind of people are sadists. They are not happy with their lives because baphila ubomi babanye abantu. I so wish through the journey of life we would find ourselves and live life to the fullest. Wow, 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 what a
Yeah.
beautiful message there.
Wow.
Le picture ke
Beautiful
phaa
comment.
iveliweyo ke ngomama ke abahleli ngathi kusemcimbini okanye phaa ezilalini
Hey,
kuronta. To mntanam,
kuyenzeka kuwela
I think if you are a black child and you have never experienced this, wow, you are privileged.
you are privileged.
Because
Pressure ngakayana nje.
yeah,
Oh,
uziswe ecaleni kuthi mntanam, utshatile, utshata nini,
Hey.
unayo imoto, uyasebenza, wenza ntoni ngoku?
Yeah, man. Yeah. It's tough,
Mm.
but there are solutions. There are
Uh-huh.
solutions. We can overcome this status anxiety. This thing leads to depression, and it's not good. It's
Mm.
it's it's not good.
And maybe when
Now,
I can,
to wrap it up, yeah.
no, go on. Sorry. Mm.
No, I was going to say to wrap it up because we have said umphathi wami uthi mandivale, so ndivamele.
Mm.
So to wrap it up, I was saying that there is a solution. I've brought the problem and at length I've described it the best I can, and I wrote down here on this note music
Mm-hmm.
solutions to this. Now
Mm.
I'm going to give you three
Uh-huh.
three steps to overcome this status anxiety. First of all, you need to treat others as you would yourself, right?
Mm. Mm-hmm.
Treating others as you treat yourself, you are, being considerate.
Uh-huh.
uyawabala amazwi akho,
Mm.
and you, your aim will always, and when I say always, I mean always, not to hurt, because you'll never hurt yourself. So you chances
Mm.
are you'll not hurt others if you treat them as you would treat yourself,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Mm.
And the second one is define success for yourself. It does
Wow.
not have to be defined as as society
Mm.
defines success. There are many types of success in that way too.
Mm.
As a situ if you measure the ability of a fish by it
Mm.
climbing a tree,
Uh-huh.
that fish will always think that it's
It's a
inadequate.
failure.
So
Mm.
khona abanye abantu, they think that they are not so intelligent just
Mm.
because they can't do what others can do. Well, you
Mm.
should be happy that you do what others cannot do.
Yeah.
But
Wow.
now,
Mm.
this is what I can do, and this is where my success will come from. There are different kinds of minds, Tovani.
Mm.
And when I say mind, I don't say minds. I
Mm.
mean minds which translate to mines. They
Mm.
are gold mines. They are
Mm-hmm.
mines for diamonds and other precious stones. Maybe your mine is not a gold mine. Maybe that's where the diamonds are. And you need to
Mm.
define your own mind by the type of mind you have inside of you. So that's
Yeah.
why I'm saying define your own success for yourself,
Mm. Wow.
right?
Mm.
And the last one is refuse outer achievements or lack thereof to define your sense of
Mm.
self entirely, right?
Mm.
Izinto onazo nongenazo, let them not define you, who you are
Mm.
yourself.
Mm-hmm.
So, so you see that there remain so many vital sides of us that will never appear on our academics or our
Mm.
business cards, that
Mm-hmm.
don't stand a chance of being captured by the questions, what do you do? And
Mm.
we need to keep virtues that will never be captured by that question, and we need to love them, and we need not to fall into the pit or the trap of a
Mm.
social or a status anxiety. So even nditsho enye into endizawugqitha exesheni ndixoxa apha Radio 537.
Sure, wow, man, wow, wow. You know, from everything that the first two that you said, and you know, they really cut to the core. Be considerate, basically, and number two, measure your
Yeah,
success for yourself. Define success for yourself. Wow,
yeah.
brother, man. It was very very insightful. It was really a late night thought. So to all the listeners, this is the premiere. If we are premiering like this, just imagine uba kuzabe kunjani tomorrow. Just imagine next week. Just think for yourself ukuba kuzabe kunjani. So stay tuned and listen to Radio 537, your favorite late night show on the table.